Hello everyone, Chaos here, and welcome to another old-school RuneScape video. Today, my Vardorvis guide. Released as a repeatable boss for Desert Treasure 2, Vardorvis is fought at the Stranglewood, which is a brand new area added after this update. It features crazy mobility and safe spotting, as you're being bombarded with melee and ranged attacks from multiple sources. Other than Desert Treasure 2, you won't need anything else to comfortably farm Vardorvis, but the amount of quests needed to even start this adventure wouldn't fit on the screen. So, make sure to tackle these requirements bit by bit. Vardorvis can be fought with pretty affordable gear, and we are looking at base 75s for your melee stats, along with 70 prayer. If you want to have a small taste of this boss, you won't need anything else, but oh boy, does it get chaotic. For a much easier time, and just like the Leviathan, 90s in each combat stat will be incredible. You won't need to level up prayer further, but remember the higher level, the more effective your prayer healing potions will be. I also recommend 88 magic for thralls, and that's pretty much it. For the minimum gear, we are going for a slash weapon and the best strength increase items you can get. I recommend at least a whip with Dragon Defender, Nezzy Helm, a fire cape, Amulet of Fury, a torso and obsidian legs, and finish that off with Bearer's gloves, dragon boots, and maybe a berserker ring. Take a special attack weapon, a rune pouch with thrall runes and the Book of the Dead, fill the rest of your inventory with 1 combat and prayer potions, and of course food. For the best in slot gear, the most important items are an Osmundtem's Fang on Slash, an Amulet of Blood Fury, and ferocious gloves with primordial boots. The next best upgrade for your armor is Bandos and Nessie Face Guard, of course followed by full Torva. With this setup, I take Void Waker, the Ring of Shadows, and 1 Divine Combat Potion with Prayer Potions, Garambwans, and Sharks or Manta Rays. We are now looking at ways to get there from best to worst. And oh man, this one is quite painful without the ring. And speaking of, the best way to get there is by adding a Strangled tablet to your Ring of Shadows, which will place you on top of the Stranglewood Temple and then just run west. Just recently, Jagex added a Fairy Raincoat BLS, which puts you east of the boat that takes you to the Stranglewood. You can also teleport to Jeric's Honor if you have the tablet from Chambers, to get there with your Jeric's Talisman and then run south. Extra alternatives include the Minecart system and the Mountain Guide to take you to Mount Kedamortem, but the Fairy Ring is already better than all of these except for the Ring of Shadows. As for plugins, we will start with ground markers again, and I personally don't use these because of one strategy I will show you in a second, but you can mark a few tiles on the arena for you to avoid damage more easily. An absolutely insane plugin I found recently is called Better NPC Highlight. After you install it, go to the True Tile drop-down menu and type 12227 on the True Tile ID box, and this will highlight the true tile for the flying axis, and you can even change the outline colors for your liking. You could also get NPC indicators to highlight both Vardorvis and his head for you to be able to see the hitboxes much better. They are smaller than your usual boss, and I have misclicked a lot during the dash attacks, but more on that later. And now let's jump into the mechanics. Vardorvis features very standard basic attacks for which you will only need to pray melee. Sadly, that is the only good part about this boss. All throughout the fight, you will be juggling 4 things happening at random intervals. What will happen right away is axes flying through your screen. As you can see, the arena is divided in 9 segments, and axes will appear at any given corner. You will start seeing 2 of them, and when they emerge from the ground, they will be thrown at the opposite direction. They move pretty fast, so you will have to move to a safe tile. I will show you multiple ways of avoiding them during the live KC, but if you get hit by them, you will take heavy damage and will start bleeding. If you run during the bleed, damage will pile on even faster. So, if this happens, move as little as possible. Towards the end of the kill, 3 axes will start spawning instead of 2, making the safe spot a little trickier. The second mechanic is that, also at random intervals, Vardorvis' head will pop out of the ground and will throw a blue projectile that looks like a spike. You have 2 ticks to pray from range to avoid the attack. Otherwise, it will turn off your prayer for a few seconds, and be advised that Vardorvis hits like a truck if not praying against melee. So, this is almost more important than avoiding the flying axis. The third one is that halfway through the fight, Vardorvis will start dashing in a small area and summoning spikes around them like the Phantom Muspa. I will show you how to completely avoid this mechanic, but if you're avoiding axis, you might also have to avoid spikes, otherwise you will take heavy damage. We leave the easiest one for last, and it is that Vardorvis will stun you for a bit, and your screen will be surrounded by a red root. In the middle, you will see red dots, which you will have to pop by clicking them, and if you do this correctly, you will completely avoid damage. Otherwise, he's gonna hit you for a lot. Vardorvis' enraged phase is pretty simple, as when he hits 20% HP, everything we have talked about so far happens at a much faster pace, and juggling all of these at once will take a few KC to get the hang of. But of course, with this beautiful guide, it's only a matter of time until you master it. And speaking of mastering, let's look at a live demonstration of this highly engaging fight. Alright boys and girls, now we are going to face Vardorvis. As you saw at the beginning of the video, this is the gear I'm going for, and I am not bringing any special attack weapon, because I currently only have Karasi Dragon Claws, and it's just much better to focus if you are learning. Important things, this could be an Amulet of Blood Fury or just a regular Fury, and as you can see, for people not to complain that I have an Infernal Cape and a Vernic Defender and some other stuff, then we are going for the standard gear. You're gonna do your quick prayers on Protect from Melee as well as a Piety, this one can go, and you are going to drink your Divine Potion, bop him in the head, and then you're gonna go to the very edge of the arena. You can zoom out a little bit more, this is what I'm personally comfortable with, and as you can see, well, we are going to start going in. We are going to move on this side, which is what I explained, if you want to go ahead and mark this tile, and then after the horizontal, or the axe that spawns right in front of us, you will see that we're going to move away from it. One thing that happened very, very fast was the spikes coming out of the ground, and you just want to move away. So, yeah, we're gonna just, like, stay here until this projectile comes up. You have 2 ticks to react and pray ranged. And that is it for the, what should I say? For, like, the basics of this boss, except for this one. As you can see, the strangle mechanic is just gonna, like, trap you for a little bit. Not gonna be able to do anything. Move, pray, and then you can also attack it here next to the pillar. I really hope I can show you the axe skip that I showed you, or that I'm going to talk about during the extra tips. And, well, as you can see, this kill is going to go a little slow. Oh, there we go. Axe skip. Beautiful. That is exactly how you skip it. So you stand for 1 tile north of this pillar, and then you move back right away, because for some odd reason, the axe, like, coming from here are just, like, going to, like, either appear and disappear. No, sorry, just appear 1 tile away from the edge. So one more time, boom, boom, you can do that, easy. And yeah, I believe this is going to be it. I am going to speed up the kill because, well, with this gear, you can pretty much tell that it's going to be a kind of a slow fight. So I will see you when something interesting happens. As you can see, when an axe is coming from the northern, well, I mean, not technically the north, but I would say, yeah, the one directly north of you, then of course, oh, that was pretty close. Then of course you just want to move away from the horizontal one, and there we go, just do this one, that one, move back. The enraged phase, even though it doesn't look like anything interesting happens, well, you're gonna notice it pretty much at the pace of the fight. Everything is just gonna happen so much faster, but as you can see, with good mechanics, good clicks, and moving away, well, that's pretty much all you need to do. This is definitely, in my very personal opinion, the most engaging fight and the one that could give you the most trouble because it can get out of hand really, really quick. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Let's go for more tips for Vardorvis. Alright, with that out of the way, let's check a few extra tips for Vardorvis to maximize your kills per hour as you get more and more comfortable with this boss. Let's begin with something I still do from time to time, and it is that if you're bringing a special attack weapon, don't use the special on the very first attack and wait until the second hit. It might be placebo, but I feel like if you wake him up with a special, it barely does anything. Game audio is super useful here, so I recommend playing with sounds at a decently high volume for you to hear when the axes are spawning and when his head is popping out of the ground. It's much better than waiting to see them on the screen. If you stay on the edges of the arena, you can avoid horizontal axes by standing north of the pillars if you positioned your camera like this. If you're standing there, you won't even have to move for diagonal axes, as they won't come near you. For the actual difficult combination of horizontal and diagonal axes, you can do the following. Step north of the pillar, and right before the axes are thrown, step back into the edge of the arena to avoid horizontal axe. For some reason, their true tile is 1 square away from the edge when they are thrown, making it a lot easier to not take any damage. The last axe pattern you will have to watch out for is when all 3 of them spawn at the opposite end of the arena, and for this, simply go to an edge that is diagonal to you, stay there, or go back to your preferred location. You will have moderate time to react to this one, but it's pretty spooky. For the awakened version of Vardorvis, the maximum number of axes goes from 3 to 4. And, even though it doesn't sound like a lot, it can be pretty daunting at first. The second important change is that, this time, the head will start throwing both ranged and magic projectiles at you at 50% health. The ranged attack stays the same, but the magic one will look more round. For this one, you actually have to look at the screen, as the sounds are exactly the same. The dash attacks will be more extreme and will leave more spikes on the ground, so make sure to have your dancing shoes ready for this one. When it comes to loot, the reward mechanics are not yet fully known at the time of making this video, so GP per hour will be pretty inconsistent. All you need to know is that these bosses feature garbage loot, but can also drop valuable noted items that will be more than enough to cover your supplies. For special loot, you are looking at Virtus pieces and the chromium bars dropped from all Desert Treasure 2 bosses. And more specifically for Vardorvis, we are looking for the Altar Vestige from the new Altar Ring, and the Executioner's Axe Head for the Soul Reaper Axe. And of course, you can't forget about the pet, Little Butch. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching and for making it this far. If you did, let me know if you enjoyed this boss and if you will be camping it for the pet and its expensive uniques. A massive thank you to all my channel members. You boys and girls have no idea how much my wife, my puppy and I appreciate your support, and I hope to continue delivering entertaining content for you all. If you want to be part of this list of legends, click the join button below to support this channel monetarily and see all the cool perks in the videos, in the live streams, and of course in the Discord. Stay tuned for the next video, as I will show you how to easily dispose of the Whisperer on Monday and showing you everything I have learned so far. Have an amazing day, have an amazing week, and I will see you then. Peace.